Hello and welcome to PrimeScoreX. In this lesson, we are working on main conclusions, recommendations, predictions, and judgments. This is part of our Foundations of LSAT Reasoning sequence, where each video adds one reasoning tool you can reuse across many surface topics. Conclusions can take several forms, including factual claims, predictions, recommendations, and evaluations. The objective is not to memorize a label. It is to recognize the structure quickly enough that your answer standard is clear before the choices start competing for your attention. Start with the definition in operational terms. Conclusions can take several forms, including factual claims, predictions, recommendations, and evaluations. Identifying the conclusion requires asking what the author wants you to accept because of the other statements, not simply choosing the strongest sentence. On the LSAT, the same concept can appear in science, policy, business, law, or everyday situations. The subject matter changes, but the reasoning relationship does not. Your first job is therefore to strip away the story and identify what each statement is doing logically. Here's the structural question to ask. What information is given? What claim is at issue? And what relationship must hold between them? Identifying the conclusion requires asking what the author wants you to accept because of the other statements, not simply choosing the strongest sentence. If you can answer those three questions in plain English, you are already reducing the number of plausible wrong answers, because you know the level of support, direction, or logical force the task requires. Make the logical force explicit. Support can be partial, necessary, sufficient, probabilistic, or merely relevant, and those categories should never be treated as interchangeable. Consider, the bridge is closed because inspectors found structural damage, and the city therefore should reroute buses. The inspection finding supports the closure claim, and the closure claim helps support the recommendation. One sentence can therefore function as a conclusion at one level and a premise at the next. During untimed review, say the relationship in plain English before using symbols. If the plain English version is unclear, the diagram will only hide the confusion. Step 1 is diagnosis. Do not begin by asking which choice sounds best. Ask what the stimulus or fact set establishes before the choices appear. If there is an argument, locate the conclusion and its support. If there is no argument, identify the constraints or facts. If the stem names a task, translate that task into a standard for correctness. Step 2 is to locate the pressure point. Conclusions can take several forms, including factual claims, predictions, recommendations, and evaluations. Identifying the conclusion requires asking what the author wants you to accept because of the other statements, not simply choosing the strongest sentence. For assumption work, that is often the gap. For inference, it is the strongest claim the facts genuinely support. For flaw, it is the defective move from evidence to conclusion. For conditional reasoning, it is direction. For causal reasoning, it is whether alternatives have been controlled. When two interpretations compete, choose the one that preserves every stated condition with the fewest new assumptions. That habit will later support both LR and RC accuracy. Before reading all 5 answer choices, make a prediction. Your prediction can be abstract. I need something that rules out an alternative cause. I need the author's final claim. Or, I need a statement that must be true but stays modest. A prediction gives you a measuring stick, so the wording of the answers does not redefine the task for you. Wrong answers often preserve the topic while changing the logic. One may be true but irrelevant. Another may help but not be required. Another may reverse a conditional relationship, strengthen a quantifier, or describe a flaw the argument never makes. Eliminate by naming the defect. I don't like it is not reviewable reasoning. Too strong because the stimulus proves only some is. During untimed review, say the relationship in plain English before using symbols. If the plain English version is unclear, the diagram will only hide the confusion. A second trap is solving a different question than the one asked. A fact that weakens an argument might be interesting on a necessary assumption question, but the standard is not simply, does this matter? Likewise, a plausible inference is not enough for must be true. Keep the stem's burden of proof active until you select the answer. Use notation only when it lowers cognitive load. Conditional chains, quantifiers, and multi-step argument roles may benefit from a compact diagram. A straightforward causal gap or main conclusion question often does not. Diagramming is a tool, not a ritual. If the symbols take longer to interpret than the prose, they are not helping. When two interpretations compete, choose the one that preserves every stated condition with the fewest new assumptions. That habit will later support both LR and RC accuracy. Under timed conditions, aim for a clean first pass. Task, structure, prediction, elimination, confirmation. If you are stuck between two choices, compare them on the exact standard. Which one is supported more directly? Which one changes scope? Which one requires an extra assumption? If the distinction remains expensive, flag and move, rather than letting one item control the section. The advanced edge is precision in degree. Words like some, most, all, could, likely, must, primarily, and only can decide a question. High-level LR performance often comes down to rejecting a choice that captures the general idea but overstates what the argument needs or what the facts prove. During untimed review, say the relationship in plain English before using symbols. If the plain English version is unclear, the diagram will only hide the confusion. Review this topic by reconstructing your original thought process before reading an explanation. Where did the error begin? Did you misidentify the conclusion, misread the stem, miss the gap, translate a rule incorrectly, or fall for a distractor after making a correct prediction? Tag the earliest failure point, because that is the skill to retrain. A useful drill is to take 5 examples of main conclusions, recommendations, predictions, and judgments, and work them untimed with written justifications. For each one, write the task, the controlling relationship, your prediction, and one sentence for why every rejected answer fails. Then repeat with a modest time limit and see which step becomes less stable under pressure. When two interpretations compete, choose the one that preserves every stated condition with the fewest new assumptions. That habit will later support both LR and RC accuracy. Recap. Conclusions can take several forms, including factual claims, predictions, recommendations, and evaluations. Identifying the conclusion requires asking what the author wants you to accept because of the other statements, not simply choosing the strongest sentence. The reusable method is diagnosis before choice evaluation, precise control of logical force, a prediction tied to the stem, and elimination by a named defect. The LSAT can change the topic and vocabulary, but it cannot hide the underlying reasoning if you know what relationship you are looking for. That completes main conclusions, recommendations, predictions, and judgments. The previous lesson was premises, background information, and real evidence. Next, continue with intermediate conclusions and subarguments. Keep building the sequence in order. The value of this playlist comes from combining these individual tools into one automatic LR decision process.